Well, good afternoon, my friends. It's me, Rhonda. Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to hop on here real quick and just kind of give you a rundown of my to be read books that I've already stacked up for the new year. I was just dusting off my shelf. Don't be a hater. It doesn't happen often, but I just happened to be dusting it off, and I thought, you know what? I haven't shared with you guys my book lineup. And so what I'm going to do is just briefly show them to you. I've I've gotten the recommendation from different YouTube channels that I watch, or listening to Pastor Jack talk. He'll drop a truth bomb and I'll be like, "Oh, I need to read that book at one point." So anyway, I've gathered these books over time and I've pulled them off and I've sat them down, and this is what I've chosen. If it takes me all year, it takes me all year, but these are the ones that I would like to get read. No pressure, but definitely want to get what's in those books in my brain. So anyway, the first one, which probably will catch your eye, this is by John Walvoord. Walvoord, I guess is how you would say it. And this is the one that Pastor Jack talked about a few weeks ago when I was listening to. Look at the chunkiness of this young lady. Oh my goodness. So this is a book that covers every prophecy in the Bible, as the title says. One thing I liked about it is it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to kind of read through because it's the way it's spaced out and the way the font is. So I'm excited to just kind of flip through that. I don't know if I'll start at the very beginning. It doesn't seem to me to be one that's going to be you have to read chapter 1 first, chapter 2, but I don't know. We'll see as I get started in that. Like I said, I haven't really flipped through them too much. I've had a couple of these sitting for a while, and I just thought I would go ahead and pull them off and stack them up. So, Every Prophecy of the Bible by John F. Walvoord. I hope I say that right. I also have one of his Bible commentaries. So I already like the way he writes. So anyway, there's one book. And then the next one is another end time prophecy. And this is actually the end of the world according to Jesus of Nazareth. I was watching a podcast and they kept talking about this book. So I thought that I would go ahead and have it in my stack. It's supposed to be just pretty interesting, talking, like from the disciples and the people who knew Jesus and walked with him and listened to his teachings and really understood. And as they wrote the inspired word for us, if we go and we read it and we really take it in, everything that we need to know upcoming is written out. So this is going to be really interesting too. I may start this one before I start the big giant one, because this one looks like, one of the ones that you can do like a read through and be, okay, I've read that one and I can put it back on the shelf. The other one, this chunky one is going to take a little bit. But anyway, so those are my two prophecy books going into next year. This one was a recommendation that Melissa Doherty did on her channel. A long time ago, I watched her podcast or one of her videos, and I happened to it queued again up as a recommended watch for me. So I went ahead and rewatched it. And I'm so glad that I did, because I think it fits in perfectly to right now. And it talks about what Christians have affirmed for nearly 2 millennia is that Jesus is God, and it's frequently and openly called into question today. It's natural that those who reject the Bible will also reject its exalted view of Christ. So this is telling us, explaining to us, and helping us understand the deity of Christ. So this is going to be really interesting for me, just because I love apologetics. I love to defend the faith. I love to understand the Bible and what it teaches. And I love to read between the lines and pick up things that I may have read over before and just didn't grasp it. And then I can read over it again with a little bit more time under my belt reading the Bible, and then I can pick it up and it's like, oh, how did I miss this? And so I love it when that happens. And I have found toward the end of this year that has just really been a blessing to me. I guess maybe just in the way that I'm studying this year with the chosen devotionals that I used along with my reading, the chronological plan that I'm reading, kind of how everything fit together and was woven just so perfectly, timeline, event line, everything. And now that I'm doing the Advent study, everything just is, it's just like putting that little bow and tying it in a knot. So this is going to be really, I'm excited to start this book too. This one's probably going to be a little bit more, take a little bit longer than the other one, just because it looks like it has quite a bit of references and stuff. And sometimes I do like to actually go and pull up, like if it's something, I can pull up online and just do a little bit more background checking and stuff like that. So yeah. And this one I've had on my list. I was supposed to have read it this year, but I just never got around to it because the words is tiny. The words are tiny. But I'm excited to kind of get through and read this one because it's going to talk about Paul. This one, I think Faith Womack on her channel recommended reading just to kind of understand the writing techniques and how they wrote back in the day, way back where, and listening to Wesley Huff. He's another one of my favorite apologists, because he talks about the papyrus and tablets and going way back and writing times and languages and things like that. So I think now just feels right for me to pull this off the shelf and start reading it, because it's going to talk about those things. It's going to talk about how the letters were set up, specifically the Pauline letters, when they were written, and just how they were composed, his signature series, so to speak, on how he started them, the introduction, the body, the closing, all how the people studying can find readings or find papers and old documents and scrolls and things like that, and connect them to who wrote them. You know what I mean? Just by the way that they write. Just like you guys could probably hear my channel, me talking the way that I talk, and you go, oh yeah, that's Rhonda's channel, just because of the way I talk, the way that I move my hands, the way that I present my content. Everyone has their own little nuances on how they do things, and you begin to pick up those behaviors and watch them and just kind of identify. So anyway, I thought it would be really a good time to pull this one off and start reading. And then this one is The Awe of God. This has been in and out of my cart for so many times, and I finally just pulled the trigger and I said, you know what, I'm just going to get it and read it. And it doesn't look like it should take too long. It looks like a pretty easy read, but I don't follow him and I don't follow his wife very often, but their podcast will pop up on like my YouTube recommendation, and I haven't, I don't know, I guess put in the time and effort to discern whether I do want to listen to them or not. They've just never really drawn me to them. But this was recommended in another podcast that I do watch often, and now off the top of my head, I've drawn a blank. But anyway, it's what made me go ahead and just pull the trigger. I just wanted to go ahead and say, you know what, let me just to see what it's all about. So I'll do a little book review on these as I've gone through them, and maybe give you guys an idea what I thought. But yeah, so anyway, I will list these down below if I'm going too fast. John Bevere, The Awe of God. Pauline, the First Century Letter Writing by Randolph Richards. Putting Jesus in His Place, and this is by Robert Bowman and Ed Komoszewski. Some prophecy stuff, Jeff Kinley, The End of the World According to Jesus of Nazareth, and the Every Prophecy of the Bible by John Walvoord. Now, I did buy this book. I don't even know what in the world enticed me to buy this book. I think I was looking for some books for my granddaughter, like a series of books, and his book, I guess his books were on there because it was like thrillers and mysteries and true crime and stuff like that. And so I got to pick a free book when I ordered her set of books. So I went ahead and got this because this was supposed to be a, what is it? Some kind of forensic, something to have to do with forensic evidence and a crime scene. And I just love stuff like that. And I don't know if I will read this because I don't know. I'm just being honest with you guys. I picked up a book that I'm not sure I'm going to read because I don't know truly what the content is, but it's a thriller. And I think it's his daughter that writes the Christian books that I was actually looking at for my granddaughter. But it has to do with some underground game. And I don't know, something about a witness or something. Anyway, a naive young man on the autism spectrum. He's brilliant. And anyway, he has an underground virtual game known as the Play Dead, which is the name of the book. So anyway, I don't know. It just sounded interesting and as a free book, and I thought, okay, I'll just try that one. And so here we go. I shall let you know whether I get through this or if I find it's really not worthy of reading. But he is a New York Times best-selling author, and you know how the world rates their authors, so we shall see. But anyway, I thought I would just give you guys a quick little rundown of the books that I have in preparation of starting the new year, just to kind of keep expanding my mind, taking in some knowledge, and growing. Okay, you guys, I hope you have a great rest of your night. Bye.